Our next speaker is Yasith Abeynayaka. He is Director of Design Operations and Lead Principal Business Analyst at Cambio Healthcare Systems AB. Yasith is a design manager who designs how we design. He's a servant leader who uses rapid experimentation and a design thinking mindset to solve human-centered problems. And apart from running many initiatives as an individual contributor, serving his team members, Yasith is also part of the design leadership team, way of working team, and the Colombo office management team. However, his most important contribution to the company comes as a coach. He's here to talk to us about a very intriguing topic. This topic says, what's wrong with M&Ms in the new luxury? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Yasith Abeynayaka.
Thank you. So, one of the fascinating qualities of humankind is our ability to learn, adapt, and face disasters. That could be one of the reasons for our dominance as a species. So, in 14th century,
Yes, if I may just interrupt you, we can't see your screen. Okay, now we can. All right.
okay,
Thank you.
so it was a black screen.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right.
The Black Death devastated Europe, but learnings from it fundamentally changed the society. The plague created shortage of labor and eventually results in higher demand for the poorest skill sets. At the same time, it made the governments to make big changes to the public sanitation systems. Moving on to 1980, the flu, inaccurately known as the Spanish flu, wiped out 20 to 50 million humans, but it created a wave of preventive medicine. And it paved the way to centralized healthcare systems that still serves in Europe and even in Sri Lanka. Further, it makes the way to vaccinate, mass vaccination programs. The same time period, the World War I ended in 1980. But the penicillin, a result of the war, had a bigger impact, and it still serves us. By the time when they started the World War II, it was saving millions of wounded soldiers. World War II left us many innovations, including stainless steel. And this particular poster, so when Japan invaded and owned most of the natural rubber manufacturing countries in Southeast Asia, there was a massive shortage, which led to certain level of desperation. But eventually, we found a way to make synthetic rubber. Right now, it contributes to 70% of the total rubber usage. Cold War ended in 1991, but it left us more incredible advances, including the internet, that makes this conference possible. So the desperation, lack of resources, instinct to learn and adapt during hard times is one of the remarkable abilities for our advancements. There won't be any surprises. The permanent marks this pandemic is going to leave. So we at Design Leadership Forum, or commonly known as DLF, an invitation-only executive group of design leaders all around the world, ask the same question. What are the masks this pandemic is going to leave in our workplaces? So when Janit and the conference organizers invited me to share my view on the quality engineering and beyond the new normal. I thought of sharing one of the key learnings we made during this pandemic, which I think that's going to last forever. And that's one of the answers we found is the assumptions or beliefs we had about M&Ms, not necessarily this particular M&Ms. It's a stolen word from Jason Fried's vocabulary, and it's meetings and managers. Which finally brings us to our topic. What's wrong with meetings and managers in the new normal or the new luxury? Like all of you, we had to go on working from home mode since the same time last year. Prior to the pandemic, we had assumptions, norms about how we work. Some ground rules and traditions were attached to everything we do. So meetings and how we manage or lead people were no exception. So when the forced working from home started, we expected a smooth transition. For example, we had some meeting ethics, ground rules, while in a meeting, sorry, I think I lost my camera connection. Doesn't matter. So even like while in a meeting, no devices, give attention to the person who's speaking and use the body language to communicate, etc. So even if it is like a multi-location meeting, we had the luxury of a conference room. So we expected this tradition would naturally transfer into working from home meetings. We had with time, but with time we started noting certain cracks. The new normal exposed inbuilt weaknesses in how we do M&Ms in our workplaces. So undivided attention during meetings were no longer guaranteed. So if you run a boring meeting, people will multitask. You have your own experience. So let it be either doing other work, or just wandered into Facebook or in TikTok. So when we start digging deeper and deeper, the picture was far from beautiful. Meetings are the norm or go-to tool for any problem solving. If you have a problem, book a 1 hour or half a day, or if not like off-site conference for 2 days. Before you can say Jack Robinson, your calendar or will be full of meetings. And they found it to be significant distraction for real work. The managers, mainly full-time managers, always asking for people's status updates. The worst, to fill their 40-hour work week, booking so many long status updates, planning meetings, estimation meetings, to long monologues, distracting people from real work. It was like saying, drop whatever you are doing right now and entertain me. So when we were in office, we thought these extended gatherings are part of our work. But when we start seeing undivided attention, it's not a luxury anymore. a guaranteed luxury anymore. For the first time, we start noticing how much M&Ms as organizational sins. So M&Ms were exposed for their either like unproductive format, the long durations, or the waste it generates. For the participants, it's more about multitasking, even doing informal chats, criticism chats, and we noticed higher rate of social media posts during these long bad run meetings. So our discovery to find the solution for M&Ms during the work from home period resulted in a new formula to be more visual and more collaborative in where 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 we establish a new mission to create the best moments or the peaks of each day using meetings. So one year under the pandemic, a lot has changed. We have made a lot of new learnings, made us realize the sins, and we push boundaries. These learnings are not going away, even if we go back to the exact same way we used to be. When the when an equilibrium unsettles, it never going to settle in the previous state. This will it will be always a new state. As humans, we will never unlearn what we learned during these kind of periods. Some in the same like applicable for M&Ms. Advances we made during the last year or the period will continue in post-pandemic, including the ability to set up and run super collaborative meetings. So if you think we can go back to the office and have long, horrible meetings, nobody's gonna know what they're gonna know. And I'll share a formula we developed to make any meeting or a workshop to be effective, both remote and as well as in person. So prior to start designing, there are three questions we need to find answers to. One, why we are meeting today? What is the problem we are trying to solve together? Two, what are our end goals? How would we know whether the gathering or the meeting is successful or not? In other words, what's our definition of done? Third one, who are the participants who can contribute to solve this particular problem? What's their background? At the same time, is there a decision maker who has the authority to make decisions in this particular area? Are they in the meeting? So designing meeting is all about considering about 3 points and selecting correct activities, which I call these activities Lego packs, which you can use to select based on previous 3 purposes. So if you consider these Lego packs, the first Lego pack is for ramp up activities. Do you want to break the ice in the group? Do they know each other? Are they in a state where they collaborate to the expected level? Are they too serious or too casual for your liking? Another parameter would be like, using these activities to we can use these activities to enforce certain ground rules. It could be like how to ask a question, when and where, when and how to talk during the meeting. And the third parameter is in the environment. It could be the room, the physical room where the washrooms are, things like that, or even how to use mural or mirror you're using. So like I said, based on the above three purposes, you can select ramp up activities from this bucket. The second bucket is diverge bucket. Then there are some cases where you want the group to listen to each other, make everyone share their perspective, or generate a lot of options on how to solve certain problem or ideas. Or even you might have invited everyone for a meeting for a reason. Now you want to maximize their contribution. So in these cases, we can select activities from the diverge bucket. On the other hand, sometimes you want the group to converge. Maybe narrow down the ideas and pick one. It could it could be you want the group to decide or make a or the decision making person with the authority to make a call. So in these cases, we select activities from the converge Lego pack. The last one, last not the least, the fourth bucket or the Lego pack is in some cases you want the group to ramp down, maybe to obtain commitment from everyone in the to do certain actions, or reiterate or highlight decisions made during the meeting, or even maybe to establish follow-up action plans. In these cases, we can select activities from ramp down bucket. So gathering design or meeting design. So then when you know these different activities or activity buckets, you can start designing a meeting to fit your purpose. So we'll start with three purposes: why, the goal, definition of done, and the participants. You have answers to these three questions. It's about picking activities and filling the timeline. Go to each relevant bucket, look for activity that suits your need, and fill your timeline so that you reach the end goal. And that's how we design custom workshop for any problem that's workshop worthy. Let's discuss this a bit more in detail using an example. Let's assume, let's say you and your family wants to decide what's the first thing you want to do when the pandemic is over. Let's say you and your partner has already made the decision. If that's the case, there's no point of wasting 2 or 3 hours in a meeting. All you need here is a convincing speech to sell your pitch, maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But if you're open to look for ideas and decide together as a family, okay, you need a workshop mode meeting. Now that I'm sure that we need a workshop, let's start designing it. So the first thing, why are we meeting? I need to pack, and we need to pick the best plan and plus get the buy-in to do certain actions. The end goal or the definition of done, the success criteria of the meeting is agreed. Maybe it's an agreed plan, a list of things, who's going to do what. And the last thing, maybe who are the participants. Maybe it's my kid, my partner, and I. And maybe the true decider, as in most cases, it could be the kid. Now what? We have activities from the timeline, and now it's constructing the timeline using activities. So you might have figured that we all know each other, so there's no point of adding a ramp up activity. So we know each other, we know our living room, So no ramp up activity. But you want to start adding different perspectives about how the pandemic went. It's a diverge activity. So I will look into the diverge bucket. What are the activities I know? I see something called sailboat, which is perfect. Bring it into the timeline. 10 minutes. Then you want to everyone to summarize their feeling. When the feelings are unpacked, you know to converge again. So in that case, I will look into the converge bucket. I see something called, okay, how might we notes? Maybe we will write down some how might we questions using this technique. Then you might want the family member to search the internet and find different options or things we can do and do a small presentation. Okay, this is what I found. These are the things. So you will look into the language bucket. You see a technique called lightning demo. You might pick it. Then, since you have a lot of ideas, now you want to create ideas inspired by them. Another fast diversion activity. So you might pick this particular technique called crazy 8. When you have a lot of ideas, then you want to select, okay, which ones do we normally like? You might want another conversion activity, maybe dot voting. And then when you mark things you as a family you like, maybe you want the decider to make the final call. So look for a technique that enable a designer to or decider to make the final call. So you look at it, you see something called super votes, you do it. Then finally, when the decision is made, you need to ramp down and make everyone list down 3 things they need to commit to make this plan a reality. So you will look into the ramp down bucket and see, oh, there's a technique called my top 3 actions. You will include that particular activity to your workshop. And that's how you design a workshop. So it's very simple. So in some cases, you don't have to design new workshops. The design part is already done by someone else. All you have to do is running the script. Retrospective is a really good example of already designed and tested workshops. They have predefined script and full of activities. But in some cases, you might want to solve a challenge that is kind of unique, maybe unique stakeholders, the context is unique. Then you can use this Lego formula to design a new workshop or new meeting. If that's the case, the most important thing to be a great workshop, meeting, gathering designer or creator is how many Lego blocks or Lego bricks you have in your armory. How many activities from each different buckets you know. So one way that kind of always works to increase number of Lego bricks in your assembly or is to deassemble already existing workshops. For example, take the retrospective or try to understand what are the converge activities in this one, what are the diverge activities, what are the maybe ramp up activities, what are the ramp down activities, so that you will deassemble your Lego structure, already designed Lego structure, and create separate Lego blocks and put them in the bucket. And whenever you have a unique challenge, you can rebuild. So keep collecting Legos. I think we have time to take few questions. I can take few questions.
Yes, I do not see any questions here at the moment.
Nice.
Yes. So perhaps if there's any participant who'd like to ask questions, we'll probably give you a minute or so to write something down very quickly. Do we have questions from the audience?
So I have a proposal.
Okay.
So what we can do is, if there are any questions, we can You can type it in the chat. Please remember to tag me using @sign, so then I can answer offline.
Okay.
And I'll go to the final part.
Sure. Go ahead.
My pitch. So bottom line is the new normal will carry many changes to our environment. How we do things, how we consume products and services, and how we work. But one thing is guaranteed to remain unchanged is high quality services and products will always be products or services that solves the right problem. So it contains the right solution at the same time doing it right. So when it comes to doing it right, the collaboration and shared ownership and lesser distractions from M&Ms to the real work is critical. So my suggestion is use this formula to redesign how you interact, how you do M&Ms. Or on the other hand, like we did, use this disaster or use this pandemic as a new luxury to learn about your organizational scenes, and you may have chance to evolve because we have done this before. It's in our DNA. We have come out of these situations. And thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Yasith, for joining us today and for sharing with us your ideas on how we can adapt to the new normal and evolve to some exciting times ahead. So thank you, Yasith, for joining us, and we hope you have a great day ahead.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. Bye.